It was the beginning of happiness, but then the happiness was marred by a series of events that at a point made me wonder, like, God, what have I gotten myself into? My pregnancy discovery story is a very funny and unique one. I found out I was pregnant while I was in transit from Russia to Nigeria, and it was a very, very dramatic occurrence. Prior to that, I had been 6 years in waiting for a baby, and the last thing I had expected was that I'd be vomiting in an airport, but then that's what happened. I just felt sick. I was able to manage myself to get back to Lagos, Nigeria, and then I went to a hospital to run a test. I got to the hospital and the scan was done, and there was nothing on the I don't know what they call it, sonogram, the X-ray machine thing. Now the backstory to this was the year prior to that, I'd had such an experience as well. After waiting for so long, I'd had the symptoms of pregnancy, gone to the hospital, and they had run a scan, and an empty X-ray machine thing came out. Apparently it was something called a MOLAR pregnancy, a pregnancy that didn't form fully, and that had to be taken out. So fast forward to the present day, it was a very scary and apprehensive moment. I was eagerly looking at the screen and hoping, please tell me there's a baby somewhere in there. Please tell me there's a baby somewhere in there. And then the sonographer pointed and said, oh, that's your baby. Very tiny blip. And I was very ecstatic. I was very happy. It was the beginning of happiness, but then the happiness was marred by a series of events that at a point made me wonder, like, God, what have I gotten myself into? So starting from that very moment, my vomiting spree became non-stop every day. While people said, oh, they had morning sickness, of course the name implies morning sickness, so I thought, okay, maybe I'd vomit in the morning and then, hey, I'd be fine. So the first morning after the X-ray, I vomited, hey, I'm gonna be fine. Then 30 minutes later, I vomited. Then 1 hour later, I vomited. Then 2 hours later, I vomited. And I basically vomited like 6 times the whole day, and it was like, okay, what's going on? I went back to the hospital. They said, oh, it's normal. That's how I vomited 9 months of my pregnancy. Sometimes I would even vomit blood. I couldn't keep anything down. I couldn't take any prenatals. I was worried that would my baby come out normal? Would there be any deformity? Because I literally couldn't take anything. I'd lost so much weight, and I just basically couldn't wait for the baby to come out. Like, just come out so I can stop vomiting. A day before I had my baby, I also vomited. I vomited like 5 times or so. So it was time to have the baby. Now it was a planned cesarean section. We checked the weight of the baby. It wasn't big, but my doctor advised that I had a cesarean section because of the past precedents that had been set. I said I didn't want to go under the knife again. I'd already been twice, but he was like, for the sake of the baby, just do it. And so, packed my bags that evening. I had a photo shoot. Early that morning, woke up, got dressed, had a photo shoot in my house, did the whole baby bump thing before and after. Oh my God, I'm so excited to meet this baby, can't wait. And then got into the car. But just before I got into the car, I started having contractions. And my husband called the doctor and said, okay, I think she's having contractions. Like, okay, get to the hospital immediately, that he still didn't want a vaginal birth. So we got to the hospital. Later on in the evening, the doctor was gone. They had to give me something to stop the contractions because they were coming really fast. And then the next morning came, and I remember my husband said something to me, said, today our lives are going to change forever. If only I knew. Understatement of the year. The fear was so deep for that particular one. And the gynecologist came. I remember I was just outside the theater. They were having surgery for someone else before I was due to go in. And one of the surgeons came and sat beside me and held my hand and said, there's nothing to worry about. And he just kept on trying to talk to me. And I said, I'm not in that zone. I'm scared. He said, why are you scared? Like, even trying to make a joke, like, you've done this before. You shouldn't. I'm like, please. That's why I said, so what exactly are you scared? I said, I don't know. I just feel like I'm just going to go from there. And it's like, no, it's a simple process. Everything will be fine. We'll be there, da da da. But I was just so scared. And then they wheeled me into the theater, and they were about to start. In fact, they hadn't even started anything. And next time, I just started saying, I can't breathe. I can't breathe. Help me, I can't. It felt like my whole chest was constricting. You know, like, I can't breathe. I can't breathe. Before I went in there, the man just told me, just remember that you're not a slave to fear. Everything is fine. And the surgeon looked at the oxygen. When I was back to the theater now, when I was saying I can't breathe, the surgeon looked at the oxygen level and says, oxygen is fine. He checked all my vitals were fine. I said, relax. I said, I can't breathe. I wanted to take off the mask. And next thing I knew, I just heard someone saying, okay, so now I'm going to put you on the count down from 10. I couldn't even count it. I just felt like I was floating. And then next thing, I opened my eyes. In fact, I was delirious. And I kept saying, my eyes were closed, and I was turning my head from it. And I kept saying, it's never been them, it's always been me. That was the phrase I kept saying. My husband kept saying, he said first, I said, it's never been the doctors, it's always been God. And then I kept repeating, it's never been them, it's always been me. It's never been them, it's always been me. It's never been them. And then I slept back, and then I woke up, and I kept saying the same thing. My husband actually recorded that, and I think that was it. So fast forward to present day, when it was time to have my baby, and my husband was asking me, are you fine? I'm like, yeah, I'm fine. I guess he was asking me, like, am I going to expect any weird things, like I have my real rating? I'm like, nah, none of that. I'm fine. Why? I don't know, maybe some of the music, I'd listened to some songs. I had like a series of confessions I used to do while I was pregnant. I had it on my phone. I would always say those confessions over and over, day, morning and night. I was always saying those confessions. So I don't know if all of that just combined and fortified my mind. There was no inkling of fear, funny enough. The only thing I was scared of was the catheter, because I hate the process of that thing. Jeez. But yeah, that was about it. I had this podcast I used to listen to, Confessions. I had this book, Supernatural Childbirth, all those confessions. So I just felt fine. I didn't feel any fear, not one bit. And I just wanted to see what my baby would look like. This child I was always rolling around in the tummy and turning on, wouldn't let me eat and keep making me throw up. And yeah, I met him a few hours after. After eating, I made sure that I ate. They told me I couldn't eat after 10 p.m., but I made sure I ate one burger like that I've been craving, with barbecue chicken. I wolfed everything down. If I vomit this one, let me vomit, but let me eat something good at least before I bump picking. Let me know I ate something good and all right. So yeah, I ate. Okay, so after having the baby, it felt weird. I couldn't really eat much. Actually, and then everybody, all the mother-in-laws were like, Jeun, kobale, ri oúnjẹ fún ọmọ, and all that, like, eat so that you can breastfeed. And that, I was lucky enough, I started lactating immediately after birth, because I'd been practicing some stuff I saw online and also from my antenatal as well. So I started lactating, lucky for me. Like a day after birth, we had given my baby colostrum, but then they said they needed to supplement with just a bit more, with a bit of formula, just to make sure he was full, because I wasn't lactating fully, although colostrum was coming out. And then they gave him this milk, and the next thing he started throwing up and regurgitating. And then they checked, they said it wasn't digesting, that there was a word they not used, but I can't remember. And then they had to stick like a pipe down his throat and pull out everything. I felt so bad, like such a small human, my baby, why are you acting like? If I had to cry now just thinking about it. And then the one that was even worse than that was he had mild jaundice as well, and they had to keep injecting it. It was just. No baby should go through that. It was in fact, at a point, I couldn't even be there when they were pricking his hand and searching for whatever, I just tell my husband to just take him to the nurses. They had to check his blood every time to be sure the bilirubin had gone down. And that was when it was just like 2 days and then 2 weeks. And then he couldn't have his circumcision on the 8th day because the bilirubin level was still there. And so it was a little bit older, maybe say like 2 weeks or so, when they had the circumcision. And he felt the pain. Children go through a lot as well. And then the immunization. I cried when he had his first immunization because this boy, oh gosh, he cried. Although he cried a bit and stopped, he's a strong boy. But me, I think I cried more than he cried because I'm like, why do you have to give children needles? Why do we have diseases in the world? I cried. The nurses are all like, oh, Kiloshi. Oje Sharagiri, you're gonna see more of these in the future. I'm like, please, let me cry, please. And I cried. Even when it was 9 months and I took him for immunization, they literally had to, I went with my mom, I said, my mom should just carry him. They said, no, I have to be the one to carry him because when it's his wedding day, I'm the one that will dance with him and do mother of the husband. And I'm like, geez, wow, really, wow. You know, all those nurses and there. You have to carry your child in the hand. Hold him leg, let me knick on, because it's you that will dance with him when he's doing mother of the husband, mother of the groom on that day. When he gets money now, we buy you more too. Suffer it now and all that. I'm like, just tell me, fine, whatever. Just give the boy the needles. So till today, whenever he's taking needles, I always feel like, I'm sorry I'm making you go through this. It was a very stressful time, but you know, over time, I would say that the love started to grow, and sometimes I'll just look at him and be like, oh, he's not mine. I remember I read one day, I was just surfing through the internet or Instagram or something, and someone said, oh, I just had my baby and I couldn't sleep all night. I was just looking at his face. I was like, say what? Girl, you ain't sleepy. Because I didn't even feel any of those, I want to look at anybody, I just wanted to sleep. But now he somehow it's just become one of the most important people in my life. So that's my baby. And that love, when the rush of that emotion, that love came, it came so strong. And I think one thing that sort of helped, I think I remember the day was when, because my husband recorded the process of the delivery as well, the surgery. And I was finally strong. He had been wanting to play for me, but I was like, I'm not strong enough. I hate seeing blood. And then one day I got the nerve to just watch it. And I think that moment, it just felt like, wow. Like I made this little human. I brought this little human to life. Like God used me to bring this amazing little thing, baby, human, child, loving, smiling, cute, kicking, fist stomping, greenless, toothing, smile, I love you, carry me person to life. And I felt very special, and I think that the bond was just sealed then, and from then on it's been love, love, love every time I say, well, except every time I'm saying, stop, drop that, don't carry that. But even then it's in love. Children really are the best things that can happen to anyone, I think.